To what lengths would you go to save an animal? What separates a pet from food? Is it morality? Should compassion be shown for all walks of life, or are some things just part of a cycle? When there are too many mouths to feed and not enough food in the world, would desperation change our way of thinking? Would we look the other way blindly as corporate greed keeps our hands on the meat grinder? Join us today as we talk about this and more on the 2017 film Okja. Thank you and enjoy. Funny thing about, I picked this movie, right? Well, I picked another movie originally, and then I picked this movie, not realizing I had some of the same actors in it. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen this prior, and usually I've been kind of picking things I've seen. I mean, like the last one. So yeah, I picked this one not really knowing much about it. I had someone that told me to watch it like maybe a year or two ago, so I wasn't really sure what to expect kind of going into it. It was pretty cool. I was kind of worried it was going to be like a bummer the whole time, because usually these kind of movies are like a bit of a bummer, when there's like an animal involved or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was a ton of like tone shifts in the whole thing. So it was kind of like there was a little bit like some parts that were like kind of a bummer, and then sometimes it kind of felt like a kid's like fantasy kind of movie, and then there's some like dark stuff, and I wasn't really expecting like a lot of that, but it was neat. Obviously the movie touches on a few things like activism, capitalism, animal cruelty, obviously.
It seemed it almost felt like a Spirited Away type anime, but live action to me.
Yeah.
Or like Kiki's Delivery Service. I don't know. I have a hard time with when they make it in where it's an animal, but it's like as smart as a human. It magically understands all English. It knows exactly what it needs to be doing and exactly, you know what I'm saying? Like, It's one of those super animals. I have a harder time with things with that. It's kind of like a played out story, but other than that, it was all right. There was a lot of parts that I just didn't quite like. It was a bunch of pretty good actors in it. Yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal was a really weirdo.
I was gonna say, he had a really strange part in this. Yeah,
it took me too long to figure out who that was. Like way too long.
Yeah. He did a pretty good job of making him not seem like himself.
Yeah.
But all in all, I understand the parallel it's trying to make, like the whole animal cruelty thing and whatnot. But I find it really hard to believe that in a world of a creature that smart, obviously cows and stuff are intelligent.
Yeah.
But we don't eat dolphins on the regular. At least most societies don't.
Right. Yeah.
And this kind of creature that they, I feel like this is a very similar story to what we've had. It's like a Free Willy type thing. But it was all right. Definitely not my favorite. Wasn't the worst we've seen yet. Wasn't really the best. Yeah. I love the actors in it. Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
Amazing actor. Jake Gyllenhaal we mentioned, pretty good. Oh, what's his name? Giancarlo, the dude, he's in Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah,
he's in about to be in Far Cry 6.
Yeah, he's cool too. He's a good actor. He always plays good villains and stuff. It's very intense.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought it was the cutest movie I've ever seen in my entire life. It was so adorable. Like, honestly, like I have a hard time watching movies, but from the beginning, at the very beginning, whenever they were like in the stream, and she said she wanted fish stew or whatever, and he like threw the fish up and like caught it for it, or like splashed so like she could catch the fish. I was just like, oh my god, like what a super smart pet. Like I wish my cats would do something like that. They don't, obviously, nothing like that. But yeah, that like I was so afraid that like the entire time I was gonna get kind of bored because it said 2 hours, and I was like, the way my attention span is set up, this is gonna be rough. But I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a super cute movie. I do agree with Darth that it's kind of like a played out storyline, but I think they did it really well. Like I love like the whole like animal activist, and you can like ask my dad, like ever since like I was young, I always said like I was like being vegan as a goal, but I do live in Texas. Yeah. And so it makes it really hard. He said that he would, anytime I would say like I wanted to be vegan, like it would just make him like want to go to the steakhouse. So he would always like be like, let's go get steak. And so it's like
sounds about right.
Made it so like it's a whole thing. So yeah, I do we do try to like meatless Mondays and stuff like that, but I'm not like vegan or anything like that. I definitely believe like pescatarian would probably be like way like go there first before I try to cut out like cheeses. Like I love cheese, you know. But I did love that. I did think it had like kind of I was like, is this kind of like a kid's movie? I wasn't expecting that at all.
Right.
When I started watching it, but then some of the scenes, I was like, no, it's absolutely not. So I think it was like nice, like I said, or like Darth said, like it was a played out storyline, but I think they did it really well.
Yeah, that's what I kind of meant by the tone shifts in the beginning, and I think a lot of the beginning was kind of so you can kind of get a feeling of like their relationship and to kind of make you kind of like, oh, for the animal the whole time. So when that other stuff comes, you're like, damn, that sucks, you know? But yeah, actually.
Well, Stephen Ewan's in this too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Lynn from Breaking Bad. Yeah. Or not Breaking Bad, I'm sorry, Walking Dead.
What's I going to say? Oh, so
I don't know. I totally derailed you.
So I wasn't expecting, like I said, some of the. I mean, I don't think it's like an animal rights movie, but I could see where like some of that kind of gets in there a little bit. So I was actually a vegan for like 5 or 6 years for a long time, and a lot of it was a lot of animal rights activist stuff kind of just gets in there when you get really into that stuff, and so the stuff with the ALF, like I've always been like heard really bad stuff about them and how like militant they are and how they're pretty much like eco-terrorists for the most part, you know. So this movie kind of paints them in a different light, which I thought was interesting because I've always heard so many bad things about them. You know, how they're blowing up buildings and killing people sometimes unintentionally probably, but you know, in this, you know, before they even kind of unveil themselves, you know, they're like kind of like, oh, I'm not trying to hurt you. Oh, this is like non-lethal or whatever, you know, like the whole time. And I'm like, man, that sounds a lot like, you know, ALF and stuff. And
me, if I was like trying to rob somebody, I'd be
like, sorry.
But yeah, like, so we kind of have, you know, this big company. It's like, we're running out of food. There's too many people in the world and we got to do something about it, which, you know, we kind of hear sometimes even now. It's like, you know, and there's a lot of factory farming going on because of that, which is one, in my opinion, when it gets really gross is some of that factory farming stuff. Yeah. You know, and I kind of understand part of me, and that's what kind of changed my mind originally to stay away from animal products was because of factory farming. Just seeing how a lot of them are treated and a lot of the animals are treated and kept. And I know that's not everywhere probably, and it's like some of these undercover people that go and see that stuff. It's not everywhere, but it is pretty, I'm sure it's pretty prevalent, you know? And there's like only so much they can avoid when you get that many animals in a small space. So yeah, like they kind of make like these super piglets, you know? I thought it was kind of strange too. I agree. And they ship them out to like different farms, I think different countries and stuff, right? So people take care of them.
Yeah, it was like 27 different ones or whatever, 23 or whatever.
Yeah. And I kind of would like to have seen maybe like some of the other pigs and like where they were living and stuff to see what that was like, because like, you know, they probably all weren't like this little girl's relationship like she had.
Yeah.
Mija, I think was her name. She like, you know, like you were saying, Okja was really smart. Like even like when she was like falling off the cliff, like was almost like problem solving. Was like, oh, if I throw myself over this and then it'll throw her back up.
Literally a character. Yeah, basically a character in the show.
Yeah, so it was like super intelligent, which I get, like pigs are really intelligent.
But no animal is that intelligent.
Right. It's still an animal at the end of the day. It doesn't really have
it's like anytime,
logic like that.
Anytime there's a show or a movie with like a dragon or a mythical weasel or whatever it is, it's always like human levels of intelligence.
Yeah.
like Clifford, the big red dog.
Yeah. Yeah, Clifford be doing some crazy stuff. Long division and stuff. Apparently this is co-produced by a company called Plan B Entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it's Brad Pitt, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at. It was a film company founded by Brad Gray, Brad Pitt, and Jennifer Aniston in 2005.
Yeah.
After Brad and Aniston divorced, Gray became the CEO of Paramount Pictures.
Oh, wow.
And Brad Pitt became the sole owner of the company. So I guess Brad Pitt's the only one that owns it now at this point.
Wait,
but
did they break
that's
up?
weird. Aniston and Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
Apparently it says they divorced in 2005.
Yeah, a long time ago,
I don't know about that.
It's over a decade ago at this point.
That's like 16. What? Am I bad
So
at
this
math?
is I just noticed this is all the same. You're talking about Snowpiercer. This is the same director, yeah? That Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah, it's actually, so this is not only the same director, there's a bunch of the same cast members too. Or, well, at least one of the same cast members.
Okay, so since I was kind of getting like the animal activist vibes from this movie, I decided to give you guys some random facts about animals and the food industry, and hopefully like I don't make you guys feel too sick, but the main one...
I got a pretty strong stomach when it comes to that
Okay,
stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Out of sight, out of mind, I always say. As long as I don't look at it while I'm eating.
I hope none of you are drinking milk right now, because I found out that... Actually, I found this out on TikTok. It was one of those like, tell me what your job is that nobody believes is like a real job. And this lady said her job was to dye the milk white to hide all the pus and blood in it. And I was like, there's no way.
Yeah,
so of course
I've heard that before.
Yeah, I looked it up, and in the US, the FDA allows 750 million pus cells in every liter of milk. In Europe, regulators only allow 400 million pus cells per liter. So next time you get like a big old glass of chalky milk, think about all that pus.
Man, and I guess apparently a lot of it kind of gets into the stuff that gets shipped out and all that. I guess there can, like you said, there could be a certain amount in there, it's a little interesting, but
makes it taste crisp.
As a little crunch,
like a little texture in mine, like a little pulp,
I was going to say that.
Oh, God. I like mine's with the pulp.
Can you imagine if milk had pulp? Would y'all buy it?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if it was always like that.
Cottage cheese, right? I mean, isn't that what that is?
Stop that.
Basically, I guess. Have you ever had... So I had this drink one time. I don't remember. It was like that boba stuff, maybe.
Boba tea?
Or what? Some kind of...
Tapioca balls?
It was some kind of like... Yeah, some kind of like... No, it was a seed of some sort. Maybe it was chia seeds with like something on it. I don't know. It was a really weird textured drink, and it had like a seed or a bead or something in it you would drink with it. And the texture that would have going down your throat was just so bizarre. It's like drinking a bunch of eggs or something.
It's like a bunch of little black specks, but they have like a gel around it almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like little fucking... Or it's like little caviars or something.
Oh, no.
little sneezes.
Little crisp caviar drink.
Caviar is so bad.
I'm sure coconut milk is really good, but it was like coconut milk with like bits in it, and my friend was like, I was thirsty, and she was like, here, and she handed me her water, and I took a drink, and I was like, so I was just expecting like water, right? It was water with pulp. I was like, hold up. Ruined it. Could never ever again. I'm sure it's great. Like, I'm not
dog, you left the crust in here.
Yeah, I said, what is this? She was like, oh, it's coconut water. It was supposed to have it in there. I was like, absolutely not. Never again. I'm not a coconut milk hater, but no, that ruined it.
I drank a bunch of that once, not knowing that coconut's a natural laxative, so I had a real bad time.
Yeah. Give you the runs.
Those Fiber One bars. Like, I love these brownies. Absolutely not.
Ate 15 of them. Pooped an absolute diamond.
So the last one I wanted to bring up is that elephants are the only species of animal other than man known to have rituals around death. They'll even grieve non-family members. Rituals include touching bones gently with their trunks while remaining quiet, covering bodies with leaves and grass, and if the elephant was actually like in their family, they'll stay with the body for days and weeks at a time.
I was gonna say maybe them covering it's like a thing, a predator thing, but that wouldn't make any sense. So that's pretty wild though.
Yeah, I've seen stuff with that where they'll like all even go and die. That's where you get like elephant graveyards. They'll die in the same areas.
Oh, really?
To like know that they're gonna die and have like a little funeral for the one.
I think crows kind of have a thing like that too, where they'll like try to bury like their dead and stuff.
I come in here every week thinking that I'm going to say something that Dark doesn't know anything about. And every week.
Yeah, good luck.
and every
That I've never heard something about.
I know. I was like, that's why I try to just the most random thing. But no, I'm like elephant death rituals. And you're like, actually? I'm like, how?
I could be either completely wrong and making it up and think I've heard it somewhere. Or, I mean, I used to watch a lot of like National Geographic and stuff. I don't know. I could be thinking of maybe just the Lion King. There's an elephant graveyard in that.
How? That's more than you've already said more than I know about this. And
have you not watched the Lion King?
Yeah, when I was like 4, it made me cry, so I never watched it again. I was like, I'm good.
Those movies always are really sad.
Yeah.
Isn't it based on like Hamilton?
The Lion King?
I have no earthly idea, but you mean Hamlet?
Yeah, I was being funny. Y'all always do me so wrong.
I think.
Well, I thought you were being serious because I think it is supposed to be loosely based off of like Hamlet or one of the other Shakespeare plays, but then I thought you also just said it wrong and said the musical.
I could be wrong, but I think my brother-in-law animated some scenes in The Lion King. Some of the like the part with the elk running and stuff. I think it was like stuff like that. Where what's his name's dad? Mufasa dies.
What was his name? Let's look it up. Let's call him out right here.
I heard this
Disney animators.
Well, I don't know if it would be in an animator thing. Let's see.
I feel like you're making this up.
I mean, I heard it when I was little, so I don't know. He also used to pretend to pull his thumb off of his hand, and that freaked me out. And he told me he got it chopped off at a copier thing at work, and I was like, "What?"
You know how like when you were little, and your parents would be like, "I'm gonna call Santa Claus if you don't act right." My parents would say that they were gonna call Britney Spears because I loved her so much.
Yeah,
I just wanted y'all to know that.
Did you know that Britney Spears has been basically under the direct financial and intellectual care of her father since like 2006 or something crazy like that?
I have a little more respect for her, yeah, now that I've learned some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nutty. She recently just tried to get freed again, and I believe the court still ruled against her for some reason.
That's wild.
I do want to say that I've hated Justin Timberlake forever because he's always like used like what happened between them to gain the spotlight, and kind of just like he's finally apologized recently now that all this stuff has come out. He's like, yeah, I shouldn't be like continuing, like I don't remember how long ago they dated. That was like what the late 90s, the beginning of the 2000s, but allegedly like she cheated on him, and he's always like bashed her, brought her up in the media just for like recognition, because obviously like people love that, you know. But yeah, I've never liked him for that, so I just wanted y'all may have just now stopped liking him, but I've always disliked him.
Since the beginning.
Yeah.
We actually mentioned something similar to this, I think on the first episode that we did. Like you had brought up something about paid subscriptions and services, things like that. Apparently Netflix is now looking to push into the video game industry, and I'm not exactly positive what that means as of yet.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
But they've started like hiring teams and stuff.
Like,
I guess start setting up the infrastructure for
like
it.
Developing games or like getting other companies.
Yeah, so I think they're going to be doing kind of like launching games, but also developing games.
Interesting. That's kind of what Stadia was doing at first too, because they kind of had like their own development team and stuff. And I think now, but you know, like I was thinking with Microsoft like buying so many people up right now, it's like I don't know. I feel like the competition's kind of steep there, you know.
But so think about like this too, though, is Netflix has already set the grounds of doing Netflix TV show games for games, or I guess maybe in movies here or there. I don't know if they've done movies, but they've done like the Castlevania. They did The Witcher.
Ah, right.
They've done.
I feel like there's another one.
What was they did a series? I think they did, or they're going to do a Resident Evil one. Something for Dota, I want to say that they were going to do, or they are going to do.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think
so. Like they already have.
I think there's going to be one.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that too. So they're already building these relationships with these gaming companies. Just imagine they offer deals for people, like they'll do up if it's a good game, or we'll do up a TV show for you, an animated series or something for you, and you exclusively sell on our platform.
I mean, there's such a juggernaut of a company now. They could probably do anything they want, really.
I actually read an article a couple months ago that from April of 2020 to April of 2021, so like in the heart of the pandemic, Netflix share of subscribers in the US dropped like 30%. So people were actually like leaving Netflix. And I just remember I looked it up like for the actual statistics, but because I was kind of shook because I think like they ended up raising prices at some point in the middle of that. And I don't know if y'all like have kind of noticed. It's just like, I just saw that on Netflix, but it's gone now. And like, obviously like they have the titles that come for a little bit and go. But I've always been a Netflix. I thought it was the easiest to use like streaming platform. I've always been a big Netflix
It used to be for sure.
Yeah. Now I'm a big, like, I've actually been watching a lot on Hulu, mainly because of like what we've been watching, and like Disney Plus. Like I've noticed that I've been going to other like streaming services. So whenever you brought up the gaming, I was like, it could be that like they were having, and the time that you would think that people would be subscribing more or like utilizing a service more when they're stuck at home, they actually lost like 30% of their customers. So
yeah, it's possible.
I know Netflix lost my regular patronage when they got rid of The Office. If the Peacock service had literally anything better on it, I would probably pay for that.
I think we have that too. Is it free on there?
Well, it's free with commercials, and I ain't about to watch commercials. Listen, it's 2021.
We have it.
Yeah. I'm not even watching ads during a paid.
I don't know.
Right.
While I'm watching something.
I don't know what we have.
Like, you can show me an ad at the end of a movie before I start another movie. Like, I think Amazon Prime does something like that.
What other one has?
Like, every couple of an episode between episodes.
That's fine.
Like, but not every single one in like under 30 seconds.
If I see an ad, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going home. Somebody, come pick me up. I'm not staying here.
Yeah, so they show up, and they're like, wow, this pig's really impressive. And then the grandpa kind of is like, oh yeah,
the biggest we've ever seen.
The grandpa's like, yeah, I bought, he kind of like lies to her. It's like, yeah, I bought Okja for us, and he's ours now. And then they come, and they're like, oh, we're taking him back to America. And, and it's like, she gets upset, runs off. She's like, I'm going to go. And that scene where she goes up to that, I don't really know, that it's the company, but in Korea, I guess. In that reception with the receptionist, and she like breaks that glass door, which I thought was pretty insane. That little girl's pretty crazy to begin with. I think like some of the stuff she does.
Well, she tries to hit it, and she bounces off the thing and hits the ground.
Gosh, yes.
Yeah, she ninjas against it and bounces off like a ping pong ball.
What did y'all think when y'all saw her running, like getting ready? We're all like, she's about to like, we're about to change the whole vibe of the movie, or she's gonna bounce off.
I kind of figured she'd bounce off. It looked like a strong door.
I had faith. I was like, it's about to be a ninja.
Well, she breaks it. Yeah, she does break it. So she goes on this like wild search for what's his name, Mundo, I think, the guy that comes to talk to them.
Yeah, the guy
to get Okja back.
Yeah, it was like their ambassador or whatever.
So that's after they kind of load him up on the truck. They're taking him off, and this is kind of when the ALF kind of comes in, tries to stop the truck to get Okja back, or not back, but they're trying to like free him or free her. So we got these like two people just like chasing out. The little girl's like hanging on for dear life on the back of the truck. ALF's like ramming the truck to try to like stop him. Now we got like these two people like kind of after Okja. We got the animal rights guys, and then the Miranda Corporation people trying to get him. And then they kind of like plow through that department store or whatever that was.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Yeah.
When I saw the rainbow umbrella, I was like, oh my God, for Pride Month. And I was like, wait. I was like, hang on.
Yeah. So I've seen that kind of
this movie is
I've
over.
seen that kind of stuff before, they'll do that kind of stuff with the umbrellas. I've seen that with like tear gas and stuff too as well. Or not tear gas, but like rubber bullets and stuff. They use those to like kind of block them, but
yeah, I feel like you could engineer an umbrella for that kind of thing pretty easily, but it regular umbrella would probably break on a lot of that kind of stuff.
So yeah, the girl and the animal rights people get away with Okja, and I think that's the part they kind of get on film that starts to make that company look really bad, right? Because the way they're handling the little girl and stuff, and then they start to explain to the little girl like who they are and what their plan is and what they want to do, and she's like, "We're only going to go through with this if you agree to it." She's like, "No, I want to take her back to the mountains and be home," and the guy's like, "Oh,
Glenn lies."
Oh, she said, "Yeah, let's do it," and they're like, "Yeah."
Yeah, Stephen Wynn's character.
Yeah. So the Miss, what's her name? Lucy, I think was her name. She sees that the whole thing's kind of going to crap, and it kind of looks bad on them. Like they kind of made it out for them to be the bad guys, even though these terrorists or whatever are the ones that are causing all these problems.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's just use this little girl to make us look better, and they kind of, I don't even remember how did they. Oh, so they ditch. They kind of jump out the van right into the ocean or whatever off that bridge, and then they end up capturing Okja back.
Yeah, they were gonna let it get captured because they put that tracking chip on its ear.
Yeah,
or they changed the chip because they have a chip already on her ear.
Yeah, so they're gonna use Mija, I think is her name, to kind of make things look a little better on their part. And they kind of propel her into this a little bit of fame with in the media and stuff like that.
Yeah, like their little mascot, basically.
And we didn't want to talk about the scene around that time, right? Because they're like, she's not going to be hurt because they need her to look nice for the camera and stuff. And then it kind of that whole scene after that was just really weird.
Yeah, you could say they torture her or whatever.
Yeah. So
something like that.
So John, what's his name? Dr. Johnny, the TV guy. That whole scene with him there was kind of weird too. He was just kind of losing it. That's where you see he's maybe a little unstable, honestly. He was just like...
Well, it was because once they picked her to do it, he was in it. I mean, we don't really know a whole lot about the world, and we know that it's like a weird, somewhat apocalyptic or dystopian type future. And he was the face of this whole operation. Like the showman, TV show guy of that. And then when they're talking about bringing on the little girl for this plan, that's when he gets all upset. He's like, "I'm the face of the company."
Yeah.
And they dismiss him. And so he gets really drunk, and he decides to torture the beast.
And so when
manatee cow thing,
when it does look like a manatee. Actually, I think that I saw something about that.
Yeah, their faces were modeled after manatees.
So the parade thing, right? I thought, why was it? Was it because she was tortured? Is why she was maybe raging and didn't realize who?
Yeah, and I think they implied they did something to the eyes because her eyes were all red.
Yeah,
maybe sleep deprived and just kind of in survival mode.
Yeah. So that whole thing happens. They ALF stops the parade with her, little operation they had going on, and they kind of expose Miranda for being cruel. So they start showing all the hidden footage they had captured on Okja's little ear
the
thing
from the ear chip that they hacked or put the thing in.
And that's when Okja kind of starts to remember who the little girl is, and they kind of have a little tender moment there. That's, I think, what her twin. I guess they were twins, right? So that lady's Lucy's twin comes
Evil
and
twins.
You've messed this whole thing up.
Evil
I'm gonna take over. And that's when things are start going bad.
It's the same time. She talks about her sister several times, and then it's the same it's literally the same actress.
They had the phone right when she was talking about the video or whatever. Didn't the phone like you set it down? Because I was like, wait, who's Nancy? And then she kept bringing her up, and I was like,
right.
Yeah,
I didn't catch that until later and didn't realize what he was doing. Yeah,
messy.
It's so funny.
You can't trust anybody.
So that's around when they call in, where she calls in that black chalk military group, right? There's kind of people just come in, they start sweeping up
mercenary dudes,
all the ALF members, and I think Jay, I think was his name, right? what's his name's character? Paul Dano's character, Jay, like the main ALF guy.
Oh yeah.
Him and then the little girl, and I think was it Okja too? They get away with him. Yeah, so Jay and the little girl get away in the van.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's when they go to free Okja again, and I think that's towards after they start taking her to the factory. So after they show up in this factory, and then the whole tone and that part again changes. It starts to get super dark. Like the whole thing, like the filmography and everything, kind of changes. Just like the vibe of it.
Oh yeah, that's right. They show up to the slaughterhouse factory.
Yeah, and you see all the super pigs, just like a field, just like fields of them. That's when it started kind of like hitting my feels a little bit, just like seeing all the like imaginary animals. Like, I don't mean to laugh, but they're all like just out there and not living the best life. Yeah, and she's like, Misha's running through there, and she starts to kind of see where they're being processed and stuff, and that's like, some pretty brutal stuff. The way essentially how cows are.
It's pretty gory too,
for the most part, with a little what was that piston gun thing that they use and all that, or whatever. It's like pressure or something.
It's a bolt gun. A pneumatic bolt gun.
Yeah, so like. And I think that's when the twin lady comes up and she's like, I think Okja, they find her and she's getting like loaded up on the thing, about to get her, her little pig brains just spewed out and
spread about. Yeah.
And I actually thought she was going to die right there. I was like, well, this is just about to get really depressing and then we're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
And then, she whips out the little golden pig that her granddad gave her. To give to some boy or whatever, whatever she would want to do that, but she can buy her friend back with it. So she takes her little golden pig and slides it across the ground at the lady, and she's like, "All right, we got a deal." And she like walks out.
This got a lot of value. It's worth a lot of money.
Yeah. So she takes. I think they kind of escort them both out, the pig and the little girl out. And then you see like I think one of the little baby super pigs get kind of like pushed out, right? And they like snatch them up, or Okja snatches the little piglet.
Oh yeah, and that was really depressing too. Was like the mom and dad little pig thing, which
like, take my baby
again. The super intelligence animal thing. It's like the Land Before Time or Homeward Bound or something. Like animals aren't doing anything like that.
Homeward Bound. I forgot that movie existed.
And so they have their baby and they roll it under the fence, and the dad's like, "I'll take the shocks," and gets shocked.
Yeah.
And rolls him out of the fence, and then she hides the little baby in his mouth or in her mouth.
Yeah, seeing animals being like that's almost like compassion. Almost, it's strange. It's a strange thing, and I get that they're like imaginary and they're.
I mean, there's levels of that, but definitely not on the human level that we personify to.
Right, and that's a lot of that too. So yeah, they show up and they're back home. They're home safe. Got the little piglet running around, and Misha and Okja are back, and they seem to be living their happy little life with their grandpa in the mountains of Korea again. Or the hills of Korea, I guess. I don't know if it was a mountain. It looked like they were pretty high up because all those people like had to hike up it and they're like dying.
Yeah. Very steep hills. 1,000 steps.
Yes.
Kind of like what I said earlier, I did really enjoy it. I can't put my finger on it, but it kept kind of reminding me of the Hunger Games. Like, not the...
I can totally see that.
I was gonna say, like, not like the whole dystopian society thing. Like, it was just... I think it was kind of like the quirky bits and kind of like what it had going on. Just kind of... It reminded me of the...
They travel from a primitive place. Yeah. They travel from a primitive place to a fancy place.
Oh, yeah.
Have to survive.
Something like that could very much be in that world, that universe too, for sure.
Absolutely. This could be like a couple hundred years before the Hunger Games.
I've done like a lot of like kind of volunteer work for like animal shelters. Like, I'm a big like animal rights activist.
Any shelter.
Even if I'm not like vegan or vegetarian, like I still like, and I like understand what Darth's saying when he's like, it's kind of boring when they kind of like overplay like the intelligence in the animals. But I do agree that like in society, like some, especially in like North America, we underplay it, where we're just like, oh, like meat is meat type of thing. So
Yeah.
I think like that's kind of important, where like obviously it kind of falls somewhere in the middle, but I think it's kind of like to give an opposite, like I guess like an opposing side to it. So I did like it. I like not every scene obviously was just amazing. I don't think like it was a 10 out of 10 movie, but it kept me interested and I did enjoy watching it. So I would recommend it, and I'm probably going to watch it again with my boyfriend.
Pretty mixed on if I liked it. I definitely wouldn't recommend it. I have a hard time watching stuff with animal cruelty and then like the other gripes that I mentioned before. Just really wasn't my cup of tea. I love the actors that are in it, but they can only take it so far, and there really wasn't even a whole lot of them. Jake Gyllenhaal, that was probably the weirdest role I've ever seen from him.
For sure.
Super weird. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's going to be a thumbs down for me.
Okay.
I would say like ask like whenever like you see, obviously like it's not like exactly fun to watch, but when you watch this kind of stuff, you just kind of ask yourself like, or remind yourself that ignorance in the age of technology isn't an excuse. So even though it's hard to watch, it's still something that you have to like, unfortunately, like see to understand. But yeah, no, I definitely did not. I did not agree with that.
There's no giant pig things.
No, I know what you're saying.
In the world for me to eat.
Well, it's like pigs. It's like
this is just torture porn. This is like animal torture porn, in my opinion.
No, yeah. Whenever you said that, for some reason, I was picturing like all the vegan documentaries Mikey was talking about earlier. So I was like,
yeah, I'm probably not gonna watch that.
Yeah,
movie.
you don't want to.
Not this specific movie, I guess, but yeah. And when it comes to those, like, you should. I feel like people should watch them just so they kind of have a better idea of like what's kind of happening out there instead of just like refusing to see it.
Yeah. That's where I kind of had to like. I think it's a good idea to make people that are maybe a little more unaware of some of the stuff that is going on in the world to kind of shed some light on it in a maybe honestly a little bit of a lighter sense. Even though some of the stuff is a little dark, but I do feel like this movie tried to be too many things at once, or maybe not really sure where it wanted to go. I think maybe that's more so what it is. Just how much it kind of shifts around a little bit. But like I said, I do think the subject matter is a good idea. I think this is like a good example of like an international movie, even, because there's a lot of diversity in it for the most part,
Yeah.
And I think
Korea makes a lot of really good movies.
Yeah. I don't think it's when it came out, a lot of people were saying it was like a masterpiece. Like, this is an amazing movie. And it's, I don't think that, honestly. I think for a Netflix movie or release, it's probably one of their better ones. It's usually kind of a hit or miss when it comes to Netflix stuff. I mean, since 2017, right, is when this came out. They've put out some pretty good stuff, but so I mean, I kind of give it like a meh. Like, I don't know if I would watch it again or really recommend it to anyone. I mean, the people that I had recommended to me, they're like, "Oh, this is amazing. It'll like change your views on things," and like I didn't get any of that. Like, I had a couple moments where I was like, "Man, this kind of sucks to watch," in relation to like, what's actually happening in the world. But
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I liked it, but I don't think I would.
So a sideways,
thumb for me. All right,
we got the whole spectrum here, the whole rainbow.
That's the first two, right?
I just see like the positive sides of it. I'm like, oh my god, it was so like informative and brought a different light. And you guys are like, absolutely not. Like, it was such a like dark cloud.
It just bummed me out. I think that's what for me. It just kind of bummed me out. To be honest,
there was some like.
I don't want to be bummed out. I could do anything. I could just live my life to be bummed out.
I could see the cutesy anime stuff that you were kind of talking about before. I could see that in the beginning, but after that, it's just like
in all of it, man. All of it. It's like the whole thing. I could totally see that being an anime.
Yeah,
whole thing, the weird creature thing.
Yeah, I mean, if this was like an actual, not like an actual animal, but like a real life animal, I think it would have been way harder to watch. So I don't think they could have actually done it with something like a cow.
Yeah, like a cow or something. Yeah.
I'm still not over like
God forbid a dog for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh.
Man, I tweeted some mean things at Netflix whenever I watched that movie, The Silence. Have you seen that? A horror movie.
Is that to an animal?
Or
John
The
Krasinski?
Silence, or
no? That's A Quiet Place.
No, that's A Quiet Place. Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
A Quiet Place is him. So The Silence is about, it's like their answer to that. It's like these little weird bat things.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first like 10-15 minutes they kill the dog so pointlessly, and it like yelps and everything. I tweeted some mean things at Netflix that day. I was like, oh, you stupid knockoff movie, just an excuse for y'all to kill the dog, kill the dog, something. I don't even remember exactly what I said, but it was very upset
to see an animal killed. I also just want to bring up that I'm so proud. This whole time I've been waiting on Darth to somehow bring it, or even like any of us, to bring up the Office reference when Michael goes and buys the fur coat and Peeta throws the red paint on it. So I was waiting for somebody to bring that up, and I'm really happy.
Apparently, some people find it funny to stand outside for red paint at you. Just imagine.
All right, so I mean, like we said, we kind of got different opinions here, which is what we want always, right? But anyway, I look forward to doing the next one.
For sure.
And join us next time
for Geek Squawk,
where the geeks talk.